SharePoint Search continues to be a powerful search engine built for collaboration. Now, in SharePoint 2013, Microsoft has incorporated the FAST server engine to be able to more easily search across structured and unstructured data. As you can see from the image, when you're using the standard or enterprise SharePoint 2013 versions, you're able to search everything, search your colleagues, search specific conversations that are occurring in the newsfeed, and set different search levels or items even outside of your SharePoint site that you'd like to be able to use this powerful tool that you'd like to provide results for. Search is so important that it's always available from the main navigation. Also, SharePoint 2013 adds a brand new ability to search directly from the header within the list and library. This avoids some issues that were in SharePoint 2010, where the search box changed context, meaning that if you were on the home page, it would search the site, and if you were on the list or the library, it would search the list and the library. In SharePoint 2013, you always know what you're searching because there are two separate search boxes. Let me take you through some standard search scenarios. Most people don't realize that the SharePoint engine is just like most other commercial engines out there. You can use simple terms, the plus sign to include items, the minus sign to exclude something, or you can use your metadata value, like title, and specify that you want it to say My Document, or maybe you'd like to have the file extension only return documents. Also, the classic Boolean restrictions. You can use and, or. Yes, these have to be capitalized. And of course, when you're not exactly sure what you're looking for, you can do a wildcard search using the star. So for example, if you put SEAR star, this will match SEAR, search, or SEARs. And if you're really feeling ambitious and you want to try to get specific results, you can combine them all. And you can do parentheses, search or Excel, that will do the search first, and file extensions equal stock. Now that we've covered the basics, let's take a look at the brand new SharePoint 2013 search results. Here, you can see an experience that is more closely aligned with commercial products. First, we talk about the expanded content searches that we already mentioned. Everything is all the contents throughout all of the sites. People are all of the personal sites and the individual attributes that you've marked that you would like to be returned. Conversations are the text that are coming within your newsfeed and those conversations that you're having based on your team site or based on your personal site. Another example of a different type of content would be a video that you could search directly from this one central place. Like SharePoint 2010, facets on the left-hand side of the search results allow you to collapse and expand the result set that you've been given. You can see here Modify Date is now a slider. It makes it a little easier to use. Also introduced in SharePoint 2013 is an instant preview of content. Based on the style that you've set in your search, you can get instant thumbnails of your item. Here you can see two thumbnails for two different PowerPoint presentations. Also, with Office Web Applications, you get a larger preview that you can leaf through the different pages of the document to see if it's the one you like, or you can open it instantaneously within that page. You can also see that directly from the search results, you can edit the document, follow the document, send it to someone else, or go directly to the library to view similar content. Let's talk about roles. This is basically saying what a person is or is not able to do, otherwise known as permissions. You can set many different levels of permissions, and SharePoint comes out of the box with 3 permission levels that it likes to use. One is full control, which means that the person has the role of taking care of the site. Second is contribute, which means that the person is participating and collaborating with site content. And the third is reading, which, as you can tell, means that the person is there just to consume content and not to edit it. Once you decide whether you're going to use these basic roles or not, you then apply them to groups. In SharePoint, the basic groups are owner, which has full control role, member, which has the contribute role, or visitor, that has the reader role. Once the groups are set up, then you can add individual members into these groups. You also can use Active Directory groups within a SharePoint group, but the best practice in SharePoint is to use SharePoint groups with individuals inside them. Let's take a look at how this security is actually applied. Previously, I mentioned that SharePoint is a house. So again, take a look at the site and think of it as your site. That's the first level of security that you can have. You can say who comes in the front door. That's your site level security. Next, a house in most cases is made up of rooms. So here, we'll say that the documents library is a room within the site. And that library can have its own permission. Best practice is to try to set most permissions on the library level. For example, maybe you have a pet in your house. Do you want that pet to go into your formal dining room? You can lock the door, put a gate up. That blocks them in. In SharePoint's case, that pet will not even know that that dining room exists because they won't be able to see it. Finally, if you do let that pet into your formal dining room, but definitely don't let it up on the table, you can just hide the table and they won't be able to see it. This is called item level security. If you use item level security a lot, it might get confusing. I suggest only using this in a case of a formal process, sort of like your annual review. You know that only you, your boss, maybe the person in human resources, and one other person should see this document, so no other person would be surprised if they don't know where it is. A new feature in SharePoint 2013 allows you to much more easily provide access to the sites. This is called sharing. You can share your entire site. First of all, notice that this is a simple button that's within the site activities that tells you share. Pretty common across most web applications these days. Not only can you share the whole site, but when you come to a specific item within a list or a library, you're also able to share and give permission specifically on that item. And the final great feature that has been introduced in SharePoint 2013 is, instead of needing to use a user login, you can start typing into the people box and it will provide you with suggestions. For example, I start typing Adam and it will provide me with my full name. Let's take a look at how this works in real life. Here I've taken the team site template and added several lists and libraries to use within my team for the most efficient collaboration possible. Let's first talk about security. If you remember the different levels of security, we had site, list or library, or item. Let's first talk about site. Here you see Adam's private site. It's a simple team site template that I've created just for myself. If we go over to Jen Smith, who I've already tried to log into this site, you'll see that she has access denied. If she goes back to the team site, she doesn't even see that that site exists. Now, going back to the team site as Adam, let's look at the list or library. Over on the left-hand side, you'll see several lists and libraries. Specifically, I want to draw your attention to the Forms library. To check the permissions of the Forms library, I'll go into the Library tab in the ribbon, and then click on the little Shared With icon. Here you can see that this Forms library is only shared with myself and the company administrator. Again, if I go back to Jen Smith, you'll notice that she doesn't see the Forms library in our quick launch. With SharePoint Security, like with Adam's private site, if an individual doesn't have access to it, they do not see the link. Finally, let's talk about item level permissions. Jen's going to go to the calendar and see what items are there. She notices a conference call and a video conference. But if we go back to Adam's site and back to the calendar, you'll see a third one, which is Jen's birthday party. Just like the Forms library, if we click on the list itself, we can view who this item is shared with. Me, the company administrator, and another person. We know that we're having a birthday party for Jen, but Jen does not. This applies directly to search results also. If an individual doesn't have access to a search result, they won't see it. Let's take a look at search. First, if I go back to the Browse button from any location, the search bar will be uncovered. One of the fun things to do now is to search for yourself over the web. Let's see what happens if we do that within SharePoint. Here, SharePoint has brought me to the results directly for this specific site. We can see that it shows me Adam's private site, a logo from Learn Now Online, and a few other documents. If we look on the left-hand side at the facets, we can see specific result types, 2 different authors named Adam, and we are able to filter by the date. Now you can see the results changed. In SharePoint Enterprise, you get Enterprise Search, and this button right here that says Expand Your Search. Now we're able to search not only within that single site, but within all sites and all content, specifically with people, within conversations. And another example is we could search throughout videos. When we expanded our search, you should see that the Learn Now Online logo is now in the middle of the results, because there are results coming from other sites within this farm. Also, on the left-hand side, you'll see that there are many other result types and many other authors. Let's take a look what happens when we look inside people. Oh, look, my own information. Also, we can take a look within conversations. Here you can see conversations where the name Adam has been mentioned, either using the @ symbol or typed in text. Now that was fun and all, but let's try a real search. Let's try searching for SharePoint. Here again, you'll see lots of various different results. An interesting thing about the search, especially, is across people. Not only can you be connected to content, but you can be connected to the people who are creating that content. In this case, we've set up the search to look through sections of your personal profile. Let's look at what Jen Smith has done with SharePoint. Jen not only has skills in SharePoint, but also past projects, and she's even interested in SharePoint topics. Also, you notice that it mentions different documents that Jen has authored. From this single place, we can either go and view her profile and see more information about her, or we can choose to follow her activities so it shows up within our personal site. Let's see what information we can find within conversations. Here again, you'd be able to see different conversations that people are holding about a topic that you're interested in. If we go to the conversation, you can see the full conversation, different posts relating to it, and if you'd like to go directly to the original and full version, you can do so. All of this was done without the aid of any refiners or queries. Let's see what happens if we go back to everything and add some of those queries now. First, we'll try including a title. So what I've done here is use the Boolean and, all capitals, and then I've said in the metadata column title, have team. And we'll see that the search results are vastly reduced. Let's add another value. Now we have two quality documents that we're interested in viewing. One of the amazing new features in SharePoint 2013 is the integration with Office web applications. When hovering over the application, first of all, we get a preview of the PowerPoint, and second of all, we get an Office web application interactive preview. You can see here for this PowerPoint, it lists the number of slides, and you can go through the slides to make sure this is the document that you'd like to view. It also presents some highlights that come from the outline of the document. You can directly edit the document. You can follow this specific document. You can send the link to someone who might also be interested in it, or go to the library to view similar documents. Also, with web applications, you can open this directly in the specific window. Let's take a look at the library that this document is in. Here, if you're interested in sharing that specific document, you can go to the document itself. You get, again, the same Office web app preview, and you can click Share. Here, you can start adding the names of people within your company, and unlike SharePoint 2010, it will suggest their name, so you don't need to know their user login or press additional buttons to find if the name was typed correctly. I'll send Jen a message, and I'll share. Now, if Jen emails me back that she doesn't have permissions to the whole site, I can also share the site itself. If you want to take a peek at where this is going to be added, you can show options, and you'll see that it's automatically added into the members group. Remember, that had the role of contributor. You can select the owners or the visitors if you'd like, but the standard is members. Now the entire site has been shared with Jen, so she can come and not only look at that single document I sent her, but also at all of the documents that are within the whole site.